Today I'm going to talk to you about my keto journey. I have been on keto for 6 months and lost 40 pounds, and also I feel absolutely amazing. So I want to share with you what I've learned about keto in 6 months. Welcome to my channel. On this channel, I'm going to be talking about keto, travel, and positive thinking. So if you are interested in any of those topics, be sure to subscribe. But for today, I'm going to go on a hike with my dog Lincoln and take you guys along, and we are going to talk about keto. So let's go. Lincoln, do you want to go for a walk? Let's go. Okay, story time. I have struggled with my weight, I'm gonna say, for essentially my whole life. I have been on a diet for sure 15 years. I've tried so many different things, and it seems like for me it would always be the same result. I would go through and start a diet and I would lose a ton of weight, but inevitably it seemed like all the weight would come back. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that I was on these calorie-reduced diets. So I would feel really hungry, essentially, all the time. So I'd do really well, but inevitably I would eat a whole pizza on a Friday night or something. So about 7 months ago, my husband came home and he was talking all about how he wanted to start this keto diet. And it wasn't for the reason that he wanted to lose weight. He really just wanted to have more energy. He wanted to come home from work and then be able to go out and do the things that he was really interested in. You know, follow his passions, have the energy to do those things. And I feel like we can all identify with that, right? So he started the keto diet, and me, being someone who has been eating low-fat sour cream, low-fat yogurt for 15 years, was like, no way. There is no way I'm putting butter and heavy whipping cream in my coffee, right? So I was against the diet, but he started it without me. And then I guess it was after a few weeks, I just really noticed that he looked great, he was feeling great, and I thought, you know, what do I have to lose? Let's just do this thing. So I jumped right into the diet, and I guess the punchline is it's been so good. He's lost over 50 pounds and I've lost 40. We feel great, and it's been this wonderful thing that we could do together as a couple, because we could food prep together and grocery shop together and watch Dr. Berg together, right? So that's my journey. Okay, now to get into the meat and no potatoes of the content. Let's talk about the 6 things that I've learned in 6 months. Item number 1 is keep it super simple when you start keto. When I started keto, I was trying to make all these crazy complicated recipes. I can tell you there is so much you can do with melted mozzarella cheese, but when you start, I would recommend that you just stick to the basics. Like have a piece of salmon and an avocado, or do a chicken and a cream sauce on broccoli. Just keep it basic. All right, now for lesson 2. Lesson 2 is that keto doesn't need to be expensive. Now, I was actually really surprised by this, because what I did is I went back and I saw how much we spent on food last year, and I compared it to the same amount of time for this year, and I was noticing that we are miles ahead. And really, I think that comes down to the fact that we're not spending any money on processed foods, fast food, and ordering in food, really. And so we've actually saved a lot of money. We're just buying really good quality vegetables, proteins, and fats. And for us, it's been very affordable. So if you are interested in seeing one of my grocery hauls, just leave it in the comments below and I'll do a video on that. Lesson 3 is that people are going to have questions, and that's okay. And when you tell people you're on a keto diet, you're going to have 2 responses, generally. First one is going to be that they've never heard of it before, and that's fine. The second one's going to be that they have heard of it before, but they may have been misinformed. They think that you're eating bacon and butter and no vegetables, and so people do have some apprehension about the diet. But what I found is just do your research, know about the diet, and then you can really answer their questions in an informed manner. And the other thing that I would recommend, and really I would only recommend this for the very near and dear people in your life, like your mother or something like that, you can send them links, or you can send them an email and saying like, hey, these are keto-friendly vegetables, something like that, and it really helps out a lot. And the one, I don't know, I guess I call it like sad story that I had when I started keto is I told my mom that I wasn't going to be having any grains. Now, this was in December, and so we had Christmas coming up. Oh, mosquito. And she was doing all this baking, making Christmas cake and poppy seed roll, and she was like, what? Like, you're not going to be having any of this? And it was actually very sad. It was a transition period, but know that you can do it and it's going to be totally worth it. Lesson 4 is don't forget to be social. When I started keto, I was terrified of going out, actually. People would ask me out and I'd be like, oh my goodness, there's gonna be nothing that I can eat. But that is totally not the case. So the thing that really helped me out was if I was gonna be going out to a restaurant, I would look up the menu online, I'd figure out what I could eat, and then when I got there, it was no stress, no worry, so easy. Order it up, and I didn't have to worry, okay, am I gonna be able to find something that's keto? And so many places now are super keto friendly. I actually was downtown and I saw one of the food trucks had bulletproof coffee, which is pretty cool. So there are options out there, and if you are super stuck, you can always order a bunless burger and a salad. It's perfect. All right, we are at lesson 5. And lesson 5 is that intermittent fasting is going to happen naturally. And that's the good news. So before you were eating 3 meals a day probably and snacks, and now you're gonna find that you're just not that hungry. So you can reduce that down to, usually for most people, 2 meals a day. For me, I usually eat around 10 or 11, and then I eat again at 5, and that's it. No snacks, nothing else, and it works so well. The one important thing to remember though, make sure that you are getting enough nutrition in those 2 meals. Make sure you're eating tons and tons of vegetables. Now for my final thought. And this isn't really what I would say a keto tip. It's just more like a life tip. It's something that I've learned in the last 6 months, and it's really helped me out. Now, the tip is, when you start this diet, go into it thinking ridiculously positive. So what does that mean? Well, when I started the diet, I wasn't really thinking very positive. I was thinking, how is this going to be different than any of the other diets that I've done before? What's going to be the difference? And I wasn't thinking this is really going to work. But then after a few weeks in, I'm like, yeah, you know what? This is different. This is actually really working. And it is different than all the other diets. You are not going to be hungry. You are going to feel amazing. You're going to have so much energy. It's awesome, guys. I would really recommend do your research and give it a shot. So if you are starting keto or you've been doing it for a while, you know, I'd really love to hear from you. The only other person that I know that's doing keto is my husband. So it would be really nice to hear of your journey, and please feel free to put that in the comments below. Also, please share, subscribe, thumbs up if you liked my video. All right, we'll see you soon.